So today what we are doing is we are going through shorts 2 through 4 of Pokédex Filler's custom Pokemon that he creates, and we are going through the cards that I've created for them. So without any further shenanigans, we'll just jump right into it. So we have, first off, Watwa, basic electric type Pokemon. It has one evolution ahead of it. It is described as having tons of energy and it shakes. So I give it the energy shaking attack where it does a bit of damage to itself, because shaking kind of seems like it would damage you after a certain amount of time if you're constantly shaking a little bit. Seems like it would put a strain on your body. So I thought energy shaking seems like a fair attack. And then tackle for one of any, just a good basic type move. Like, it's just basic. It's nice. Then fighting weakness, because ground types are covered by fighting cards, and fight and ground is the only weakness that electric type Pokemon have. Resistance steel. Steel is the only thing covered by steel type cards, and electric resists steel, so it seemed plenty fit. Yeah, electric resists steel. Retreat cost of 0 because it's full of energy, and I'm assuming it would be pretty fast then. 50 HP because, again, shaking would seem to put a strain on the body in my mind, and electric types are not exactly tanky from what I know, which could be wrong, but most of the cards of electric types have lower medium HP, so I decided to give it low because it's also probably a pretty small Pokemon. Then next up, we have Chihuahua, the evolution of Watwa, and it is described as it is preferred partner of rock and roll trainers due to their attitude and their ability to power electrical instruments. So I give it the ability Amplifying Attitude. Once during your turn, you may attach an electric energy from your hand to one of your electric Pokemon. It does not have a signature ability in the Pokemon that he made, but I figured there is no reason not to give it an ability, and it doesn't have to be a signature ability. And it works better card wise to have it that be an ability versus an attack where, say, you would attach two electric energy from your hand to one of your electric Pokemon. It just works better. Volt Switch, one lightning, one of any to do 30 and switch it, because carrying with the theme of low damage but very fast moving, so it'd switch. It's fast, instant. Retreat cost of 1 because it is a stage 1. I thought it would be fair enough. And that is that evolution line. The next evolution line is Tapoche, which I thought was a very interesting Pokemon to turn into a card, because the way it evolves in the game that Pokédex Fillers is creating is you would have to sing into your device, and what pitch you sing out would determine what it would evolve into. So what I did was I took the colors from its evolutions: Altoad, Totodile, Baratoad. They each use an energy in their attack cost that corresponds to the color of their design. Baratoad's being water because he is a water type. They're all water psychic, but water because he is blue, psychic for Totodile because he's purple, lightning or electric for Altoad because he is yellow. And once during your turn, you may discard an energy of one of those kinds from your hand to search your deck for a Pokemon that evolves from it that has that energy type in its attack cost. Sleepy Song, both active Pokemon are now asleep. I didn't see a reason why not to give it this attack. It seemed pretty easy, basic. Weakness of Grass. This is because Grass type is water's weak to grass, and it's grass psychic. And then bug, I believe, would be neutral. I'm not sure how bug fares against water. I don't know if water resists bug or if it is neutral. If it's neutral, then Tapoche would also be uh, weak to grass. If water resists, then it would be neutral. Bug would be neutral to Tapoche. Then the fighting type is because fighting type is resisted by Tapoche. And that's just about it. Rock and ground are also covered by fighting type. However, that didn't really affect anything since they're both neutral, and I thought that the best resistance would still be fighting type. So on to Altoad. Altoad. The HP for Altoad is lower than the other ones because higher pitch seems more frail to me, I guess. Like it gives the impression of being a more frail Pokemon. High Tide's Timber, not sure how you pronounce it. It is a musical term. But High Tide's Timber, this attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Pretty good coverage move, but one lightning, one psychic cost does make it a bit more difficult to get active, but I wanted it to fit the theme, and that seems to do it well. Rising Pitch, 30 damage, 20 more for each damage counter. Very high damage potential if you can keep Altoad alive, capping out at 220, I believe. No, not 220. Capping out at 170, which quite a high number for 3 energy, especially on a stage 1. Altogether, though, not great because it does rely on keeping Altoad alive. High Tide's Timber is more of an attack that I thought would be the main attack of this card. And retreat cost 1 because it is a stage 1, but it is also the lowest, which you will see that increase as we go on. Next is Todor, which from all I could find was based off the name came from tenor. So tenor trilling is its attack, has a chance to either put to sleep or do damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's one or the other. You're going to get one, so it's pretty good. 100 HP, not bad for a stage 1. I think it's pretty average from what I know. So not a bad card all around. 2 retreat costs, which damages it just slightly, but there's no reason not to have 2 retreat costs. It does seem like a pretty okay stage 1. And of course, you can search for it using Tapoche's ability, which makes it a little more reasonable to get into play. Then you have Baratoad, which is the third and final evolution of Tapoche. It has Loki Lounging, which lets you heal a bit of damage. Pretty good. 20 damage too, and it's for 1 psychic, 1 of any. Not the best heal, but also not the worst. Pretty good all around for just keeping a little bit of a tank up there in a deck, especially without rule boxes. Then Baritone Bellows, again, the name comes from the name of the Pokemon, which is a combination of Baritone and Toad. So I took Baritone Bellows, 100 damage, but the reason it costs 1 Psychic, 1 Water, and 2 of anything is because it takes 100 less damage from attacks by basic Pokemon. In the current formats of the game, where EXs can be stage 1 and stage 2 as well as basic, that doesn't do enough, but against a GX based deck where it's more than likely that there will be basics, especially a tag team deck, that's not quite bad because it means they can take up to 200 damage without dying on your opponent's next turn. So, all around, not a bad card. It also has a retreat cost of 3. That's because it's meant to more be a tanky Pokemon that you'd send up when you need some turns to stall. It's not really meant to retreat. But if you needed to, there are ways you could. Float Stone, Retreat Board. It's not I don't know if that's what it's called. Something close to that, though. Altar of the Moon is another good option. Fairy Garden in a deck with Rainbow Energy. So you have options to lower the retreat cost, for sure. Then finally, for this video, we have Pyres, the first legendary in Pokédex Filler series. So I thought that this would be a great cap for the video. Battle Hungry is its actual signature ability that Pokédex Fillers gave it, where it burns a Pokemon that decides to use a status move in his game. It does roughly the same thing in the cards. Whenever your opponent uses an attack that has an effect besides doing damage, you may choose to make that Pokemon burn. So, because there is more, it's less common for a Pokemon to use an attack that only has a status. I made it so that this card would work if the attack had a status in general. So even if it does damage, if it says 30 damage and your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused, you could still make that Pokemon burned using Battle Hungry. Then, because it is based off of the God of War, Ares, I decided to give it Burning Battle Ram. 170 damage, huge hit on a basic Pokemon. And for 2 fire, 1 of any, it's not bad. And the only downfall is that it can't attack during your next turn, which, albeit, is kind of sad. But then again, what are you going to do about it? Complain? It's 170 damage. 3 retreat cost because, again, this is meant to be a beast of a Pokemon. It is just defeat everything on your opponent's battlefield. Don't even worry about retreating. It doesn't matter. I decided to give it the fighting weakness and fire resistance. Fire resistance is because it either half resists, like it resists, or it quad resists fire. I'm not sure if rock resists fire, but I do know that fire resists fire. So I thought that the best option would be giving it fire resistance. Then weakness is fighting type. Could it have been water type because Pyres is quad weak to water? Yes. But ice type is also covered by water, and that seemed like treading on ground that could be avoided by making the weakness fighting. Because fire rock is weak to ground, fighting, and rock, which are all covered by fighting type in the card game. So giving it fighting type weakness seemed rather fair. And with that, that will be the conclusion of our video. Of course, if you like the cards, feel free to like and subscribe. Also, go like and subscribe to Pokédex Fillers because he is, in the end, the one who comes up with these ideas. I just turn them into cards. I do not need credit for this. I do not seek credit for this. I just want to share this with the TCG community that might enjoy his cards but want to see card forms of them. And I will see you later.